Hello, hi.
Hi.
So today we're recording from our patio. So there might be some background noise like birds and cows. In fact, I can hear a bull out there.
And children.
And children playing in the background. So anyway, so today's topic, so often I've had people ask me what it's like to move back to Kenya from the US. So I thought today I'd give like 5 tips to anybody who's thinking about moving back, specifically from the US, I think, to Kenya.
That's your experience, so
My experience,
you
right?
can speak best to that.
Right. So, and actually we're sitting here on the patio and Kevin's doing some stuff for our son. He's painting, what is this, Superman?
I'm painting a big wooden Superman to go on the wall.
So anyway, so let's get into this. So my number one tip would be, I think you need to make sure that you know what your reason for wanting to move is. I think plenty of times people move because the other people are moving and they're kind of feeling left out or whatever and they want to move. But I think you have to have like a really legit, well, maybe not legit, but it has to be like a reason from your gut, like a gut reason why you're moving back, you know?
Yeah, it has to be for yourself, not for other people.
Correct. So I think that's important because I think if you just move because other people are moving, you're going to have issues when you move here because you're not legitimately, and I don't know why I want to use the word legit, but
I'm going to let the dogs out so they stop barking.
yeah. Shall we cut short?
No, I'll be right back. You keep talking.
Yeah. So, so I don't think the word is legit, but you won't have a solid reason why you moved here. And somehow I think when you don't have that gut reason why you moved here, then you will feel some kind of a way when things start to go wrong and your expectations are not what you thought they would be. So I would say the number one reason would be have a good reason. Well, have a reason that's about you why you're moving. So for example, for us, our reason for moving was really about our son. We moved here because we just thought that it would be a better thing to raise our son in Kenya as opposed to raising our son in the US. So that was our main thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so far so good. So that's number one. Number two is I would say probably do your research. Do really good research on Kenya because a lot of people, for example, if you moved out of Kenya 10, 15, 20 years ago, Kenya is not the same place. And I think the key is, I think it's important to talk to your friends, maybe people who have moved, like I would be somebody that has moved and we've moved here now for what, 3 years? About 3 years. Talk to people like that because they will share their experiences and you can gauge what it is like to move here based on those people's experiences. So I would say do your research and then do things like research on the internet because there are many forums, many resources out there that you could look at and see what Kenya is like now as compared to when you moved away. So that's number two. Number three is I think it's important to do a test run. So, when you come here for a visit, when people come here on vacation, on your Christmas, in the US you only get like 2 weeks. But when you come here for 4 weeks or 3 weeks or 2 weeks in December, that's not something that you could take away and say, oh, I know what it's like in Kenya and because you've been here for 2 or 3 or 4 weeks. It's not. It's not the same. I don't think so. So I would recommend that if you are wanting to move, that you probably put in a little bit more of your time. People are passing by, so our dogs are making a lot of noise. But I would say, like when I was ready to move, I started by coming back for longer periods of time, a month, 2 months, 3 months even, so that you can have a true test run, a true feeling of what it is like. Because people are going to be so different when you're here for 3 weeks. People are going to treat you so differently. You're going to have such a different experience than if you're here for 3 months. And, the time that you're coming is holiday season. It's like December. everyone is in high spirits and whatnot. It's not your regular time. It's such a different time to be here, like in April or in May as compared to December. That's just what I think, I believe. So I would say, I would recommend that somebody does a test run. Come here for a little longer of a period, you know, even if it is just 4 weeks, and then you go back and come back for another 4 weeks, but spread them out throughout the year. Don't just come in December, because that would not be a good gauge of what it really is like here in Kenya. So my number 4 tip would be plan, plan, and plan. Put all your ducks in a row before you move here. So do a lot of research on housing. Like, you have to think about, where am I going to live? Have to think about jobs. Am I looking for a job when I get here? I mean, by the way, I recommend that if you're looking for a job, you probably need to look for a job before you actually move, unless you're connected. You know, this is Kenya. If you're connected, then you're set. You have no problems. If you're going to start a business, do your research before you get here. So plan, plan, plan. Get all your ducks in a row. I would say housing. You know, when you're talking about housing, you're probably looking at securities, what areas to live in, what rent is affordable.
The roads.
The roads.
The roads in your commute.
Yeah, I think that if you're going to get thinking about housing, if it was me and I didn't already have a place to live, I would save money, buy land, and build a house. You know, they call it mjengo here. So you buy materials and you build your house over time until it's ready, and then you move in. And I would be very careful about what areas you live in. So that would be number 4. Plan, plan, plan. Put all your ducks in a row before you decide to move. So my number 5 and my last tip would be to do a mental adjustment. So I would say you have to rethink how things work in general. And yeah, traffic is bad. There's corruption in this country. The roads are bad. Power is always out. But you can't be focusing on all of the negative things. So I would say what I would tell people to do is either you lower your expectations and think about other people are here in those circumstances and they're thriving. A lot of people are thriving here. So despite the circumstances, they're doing well. So I would say if your goal is to move here, that's the most important thing, is to rework the way you think about Kenya and being able to deal with anything blows your way. So those are my 5 tips. If you have any other questions about moving back, I'd be happy to, specific questions if you have them, I'd be happy to answer them. All right, anything else you want to add?
Well, I would imagine most people are moving back because they're homesick. Mm-hmm. So they probably have an idea, even if it was 20 years ago, it's still going to feel like home. It's not going to, right? It was 20 years for you?
It was 10 years the first time before I came back. And that was
But that was a short visit.
Yes, it was a short visit. It was I forget, was it a 3-week visit? But it was such a shock. Things had really, really changed since the last time I'd been home.
Right, but it's still home.
It is
my
still
point.
home. Yeah, it is
so if
still
you're
home.
homesick and your reason for moving back is that you're homesick, to me that's a good enough reason, and you'll make it work. Mm-hmm. If you're homesick, if you have family and friends here that you miss being around, right?
Although that's another thing, actually, that you bring up a really good point, is that even if you had friends here before you left, those friends are at a different place now. So you might not even be able to reconnect with those friends because there's been such a big gap between the time you left that they might not be in the same place that you're in.
That's true, no matter where you're from and
right.
what country you're moving back to.
Right.
But if you've been in contact with them, you know whether or not they are that foundation that when you go back, you'll have them to lean on in times of need.
And I think there's such a big diaspora community. But I don't know that they have anything set up that they're able to have a get together or whatever. But I think if you're coming back, and some of your friends have been coming back over the years, I think it's easy to reconnect with them because you'll probably be going in the same circles. So, yeah. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, well, that's it. That's all we got to say this time.